Last year, in the hours and days that followed the shooting, emotions were high. Everyone was processing a lot. People hadn't slept much at all. With a year's hindsight, do you regret anything you said or did in those immediate days?
I don't. I think there are ways in which we could have been more organized. Again, I wish we had practiced more. But I think overall, the city did a really good job. And no, I don't regret for one moment protecting the victims.
The day after the shooting, there was a press conference. A journalist pressed you and other officials about certain information that wasn't being released. And in that moment, we and newsrooms across our state were getting questions from people. People didn't know the truth. There were rumors swirling around. As journalists, our job is to find the truth. And so we were trying to find the answers that our community had to questions they had. You said, quote, "It is absolutely none of y'all's business who was harmed in this incident. Please have some human decency and respect for the people who lost loved ones or were injured themselves or whose children were injured. Just have some human decency, folks. Leave them alone, let them grieve, let them recover, let them heal. Don't feed off their pain." Do you stand by all of that?
Absolutely.
What would you say to the dozens of journalists who are part of this community, who are having to report on one of the worst days in their community's history, who stood outside for hours talking with scared parents, talking with scared kids, who cried on air as they were processing what was happening, as everyone was surrounded by this fear? Did they lack human decency?
No, but I think what I said and what I stand by comes out of my experience as a victim of gun violence. Far too often, victims are mistreated by the media. And their privacy is invaded, and when they are having the worst day of their lives, they don't know how to deal with somebody asking them questions.
But journalists weren't asking them questions, they were asking you questions.
And we couldn't reveal information that would have led people to the people who were most impacted. So yes, I was protecting them. And I stand by that. And the feedback that I've gotten from folks at Abundant Life is that they are incredibly grateful that I did. And I appreciate that the media has a job to do. I think there is a real balance for folks who sit in your chair with presenting information and being able to say, this is what we know at this point in time, and when we know more, we'll bring it to you. But we don't have to feed the 24-hour news cycle. We don't have to feed it with people's trauma. We don't have to feed into people's fear. We can do a balance of providing the information that we have that's responsible to release and protecting the people who are most impacted in the hardest time of their lives.
That news conference on December 17th last year, Police Chief John Barnes came out and shared a few updates, and then he left. And you and Dane County Executive Melissa Agard were there for 35 minutes, 40 minutes answering questions. But a lot of your answers were, we can't share that right now. Mm-hmm. Do you think it was helpful to stand up there and keep saying that over and over, or should you have ended the news conference if you weren't going to be able to share any information?
In retrospect, we could have gone either way. We were trying to be cooperative and to answer the questions that we could. Unfortunately, people kept asking questions that we couldn't answer. And, there might have been other questions that we could have provided answers to, and we wanted to do that if we could. But that was apparently not what people were interested in.
Seeing how other cities have handled school shootings that have unfortunately happened in the past year. Again, I'm taken back to Minneapolis because it's close in proximity, and it was a very similar situation. Their police chief shared a lot of information right away. Their mayor shared a lot of information right away. If another instance of mass gun violence were to happen in Madison again, would you take the same approach you had in 2016, or would you take some of what other cities have done in their approach to sharing information?
I would take the same approach in the sense that I would continue always to center the victims and to respect their wishes and to do whatever I can to protect them and to make the most difficult time of their lives easier by even a fraction. And so if they, if the victims, if the institution, assuming it's a school, wanted to release more information, then I would respect that. If they didn't, then I would respect that. But for me, it's about centering the people who are most impacted and making sure that we are doing our best to take care of them. Obviously, the community needs to know if there's any kind of ongoing threat, and that is information that, of course, we would speak to in any situation. But aside from that, I'm always going to default to thinking about what is best for the people who are most impacted.